Құрметті білім алушылар, саламатсыздар ма? Бүгінгі күніміздің сабағын бастайық. Бүгінгі сабағымыздың тақырыбы New Zealand Climate, Flora and Fauna. Good day, dear student. Now let's begin our lesson. The new theme, New Zealand Climate, Flora and Fauna. Сабақтың мақсаты Жаңа Зеландияның климаты, жабайы аңдар мен өсімдіктері, географиялық жағдайы, халқы туралы түсініп сөйлеу білуге үйрету. Now let's begin our lesson. New Zealand Climate, Flora and Fauna. This is a map of the New Zealand. New Zealand lies between the equator and the South Pole and the Southern Pacific Ocean near the eastern coast of Australia. New Zealand is an island country with a total area of 268,680 square kilometers. It has no land boundaries. Australia is New Zealand's nearest western neighbor. These two countries are separated from each other by the Tasman Sea. This is the symbols of New Zealand. As for the New Zealand flag, the stars of the Southern Cross shows country's location in the South Pacific Ocean. The Union flag shows that New Zealand was once a British colony. This is the symbols of New Zealand. New Zealand's coat of arms. There are two national anthems of New Zealand and both have equal status. This is our God Defend New Zealand and God Save of the Queen. The first one is always used on sports occasions. The geographical peculiarities. New Zealand is made up of the three main islands, the North Sea, the South Sea and the Stewart's Island. The South Island is separated from the North Island by Cook Strait. The geographical peculiarities. There are also such smaller offshore islands as the Chatham Islands, Campbell Islands, the Antipode Islands, the Bounty Islands and the Auckland Islands. Climate. Now let's speak about climate. New Zealand is known for its maritime climate, which is quite good during the whole year. It is moist temperature and is affected by latitude and the proximity of the ocean. Climate of this country has no extremes and no wide range of temperatures. The difference of winter and summer temperature is about 10 degrees. That is why New Zealand is very attractive for tourists. Seasons here are reverse of the northern hemisphere like in Australia. Because of New Zealand's wet and mild climate, many inhabitants of the country are busy with farming and dairy good production. There are heavy rainfalls in New Zealand all year round, which is very good for cattle farming, sheep farming, growing fruit, vegetables and flowers дейді. Климатына тоқталып өтсек, қыстан жазға қарай 10 градусқа дейін болады дейді, және ол жақтың ауа райы өте ылғалды екен. New Zealand has an ocean climate without extremes of heat or cold. The yearly range of temperatures is quite small with about 10 degrees Celsius. Variation between winter and summer. New Zealand enjoys long hours of sunshine throughout the year. Temperatures are high in the north of the country with subtropical warmth in summer. Winter brings much snow in the southern Alps. Situated in the mid-late latitude westerly wind belt and surrounded the open ocean, New Zealand has a temperature moist and a maritime climate. Snow is common only in the mountains. Temperatures are moderate with no great extremes except in limited areas of high altitude. As New Zealand lies south of the equator, temperatures are generally warmer in the north and in the south дейді. Жаңа Зеландияның климаты өте жылы дейді, және таулы аймақтарында қар көп болады. Flora and Fauna of New Zealand. Flora and Fauna бұл жануарлар мен өсімдіктеріне тоқталып өтейік. Flora in the New Zealand is very rich. There are about 10,000 species, where 100 at 1,500 are endemic, which are only found in this country. It also has some of the oldest trees. Fauna in this country is also special. Long time ago, without enemies, some birds lost their ability to fly, and some insects became gigantic. Өсімдіктеріне өте бай және бұл жақта құстарымен өте әйгілі. It is interesting to know before Europeans came to New Zealand there were no predatory animals at all. This was so good for many flightless birds. All wild mammals living in New Zealand at present were important. Flora and the fauna of New Zealand. Flora дегеніміз өсімдіктер, fauna and жануарлар. Now look at the picture. Many of New Zealand's native animals are found nowhere else in the world дейді. Бұл жақтағы жануарлар және де дүние жүзі бойынша да кездеседі дейді. Now look at the picture. This is a kiwi. Its egg is about 1/5 of its own weight. The kakapo, the world's largest flightless parrot, the turtle, the oldest living reptile. Turtles live for 300 years. They can be traced back 190 million years to the Mesozoic era. Flora and the fauna of New Zealand, the biggest earthworms in the world, the smallest bats in the world, the only native land mammals in New Zealand, the heaviest insect in the world. The world's only flightless parrot, the kakapo. Now look at the picture kakapo, papagayдың бір түрі. The key, an acoustic mountain bird. Тау құсы, the hi-ho дегеніміз сары түстес пингвиннің бір түрі. The wood penguin, a large grayish green bird. Жасыл түсті құс. The two, recognized by a white tuft under their throat and the metallic blue-green color. Жасыл түсті жылтыр түсі бар құс. The kiwi. Мінекеңіз кивиге қараймыз. Бұл Жаңа Зеландияның эмблемасында бар эмблемасының бір түрі. The kiwi in New Zealand emblem. This flightless bird sleeps by day and you can hear it call in the bush at night. The best place to see these birds is at a zoo or wildlife park дейді. Киви деген құс, бірақ бұл киви құсы ұша алмайды. Күндіз ұйықтайтын құс. Ұйықтайды, және түнде дыбыс шығарады. The highly endangered blue duck is not only unique to New Zealand but also unique among other waterfowl. It appears unrelated to any duck elsewhere in the world and many of its habits are peculiar to the species. Көк түсті үйрек құсы дейді. The kakariki is undoubtedly New Zealand's most well-known parrot, especially in captivity. They have distinctive calls which sound like kikiki and spend a lot of the day chattering to each other. Какарики папугайдың бір түрі және Жаңа Зеландиядағы ең әйгілі папугайлардың бірі. Okay, this is your home task questions. Your home task will be to answer to these questions. Балалар, үйге берілген тапсырма, мына сұрақтарға жауап бересіздер. Сонымен бүгінгі біздің тақырыбымыз New Zealand, climate, flora and fauna. Назар тыңдағандарыңыз үшін рахмет. Қош сау болыңыздар.